Hey guys, this is Ben from RAV4 Off-Road, and just want to give you a little bit of an info video this time. Basically, I've done a suspension on this thing about probably about three times, and always having problems with the rear. The rear always has a problem with sagging because, well, my fault. I put on standard shocks, but this time I put on the proper shocks, which is the ones from a Ford Escape, and because they're slightly longer and a hell of a lot stronger, they seem to keep the back higher than what it usually was. Bear in mind I have got a fair few things on here. I've got roof boxes on top, they weigh a fair bit. If I come round to the back, I'll just show you what's in here. So the little thing I made. So we've got this great big wooden storage thing. It's got two plastic boxes in there full of stuff and junk. Battery which runs basically the back lights. But it is switched through into the console at the front. Fridge, even more crap I don't probably need, but you know, you never know when you will need it. So yeah, all that weighs it down a little bit more, so it is actually probably a little bit lower than what it should be, but you know, it's not bad. It gets me through. So yeah, what I was going to say, the problem I found with the Ford Escape shocks is, as you can see, the lower shock eye, that's where the problem started. Because the top's a pin, that's no problem. But that one, because the actual shock comes with a metal tube that runs through to fit on top of the metal spindle that comes from the car, from the mount, sorry, then you find that they're both the same size. So I had to get an electric sander, sand down that spindle to slightly, probably because it's full of 22 years worth of crud and shit like that. So got all that off and then hammered that on. It went on quite well, but the only thing is, well, because the spindle sticks out a little bit further than what the actual lower shock shaft does, then what you'll find is that bolt doesn't go on fully, but it does go on good enough to hold the shock on. That's just the issue I found with that type of Ford Escape shock. It was the, what one was it? Can't remember now. But yeah, I don't know if it's the same for all makes of shocks with that, for the Ford Escape that has that metal spindle running through the bottom eye, but you know, it's doable because I never on a ramp, I just done it on my driveway, and you know, once it gets on, it's on. So but it does make a hell of a lot of difference. Ride quality is so much better. The Ford Escape shocks, you'll see if you do get them, they are so much more thicker than the standard RAV shocks. They do keep the springs from sagging too much because, I mean, with the standard shocks, they're not quite long enough and they're on pretty much full extent, and they put the springs through a hell of a lot. So after changing them, I noticed that the back end has stayed up a lot better than it did with the previous ones. So just a little note to give you a bit of a heads up. If you do change your rear shocks and put Ford Escape ones on, if they come with a little metal spindle running through the bottom eye, then you are going to have to do a little bit of sanding work to get under there. I would suggest the electric sander because otherwise you'll be there all day trying to sand it with your hand. Have a good one.